HTML because it was much more accessible.
Yeah.
And Apple sort of, with everything going mobile, they sort of mandated that they weren't going to support Flash.
Yeah.
And so I got to work on Nike.com when it made that transition.
Wow.
Which was a super cool experience with like a bunch of super talented people. And that sort of led me to meet people on Nike skateboarding. Because I helped sort of launch Nike skateboarding on Nike.com.
Wow.
So that project led into an app I did for Nike skateboarding, which I think it's maybe like 7 or 8 years ago now.
Wow.
Which was super cool. I definitely like burned myself out because in the back of my mind, I was like, do skateboarders need an app? And in the back of my mind, I was like, no. But at the same time, like we did some really cool stuff. And I think like I have this like, just have like a skepticism, I feel like, in myself and sometimes like in what I'm working on.
Yeah.
I try to make it healthy, but I think we did some really cool stuff with the phone and, teaching kids how to skate sort of outside of the computer and giving a cool experience that could happen at, skate parks or while kids are skating.
Well, it's like that, like we were talking about before, I'm watching I'm a jury member in the Montauk Film Festival, and we're watching this documentary on the making of Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and that game introduced like so many kids to skateboarding, but not only that, it educated them on all the moves and what they were doing and the names of it and all the professional skaters along with that. So, I mean, the technology totally has relevance into skateboarding, I imagine, with all of that sort of stuff.
Totally. I mean, I think that's like a great way to look at it too. And I think like at the time I was like so caught up in it, but then you step away from it and it helped. It really helped introduce a lot of people to skateboarding. I mean, Tony Hawk is like case in point that like people started skateboarding after playing that game, and like people knew what all of these different tricks were.
The bands, the music,
the music
too.
is like,
like
it's still burned in my head.
Primus, just that loop of one song over and over, and it's just like amazing, like what an impact that sort of stuff has, and the tech that can have on the impact that tech can have on these sports that we do, particularly skate and surf and snow. I look to surf right now, and it's always super interesting seeing like someone with the drone or the solo shots on the beach and how that can really improve people's surfing. People improve dramatically because they can see themselves doing it. Do you use any of that stuff?
I don't. But I like, for me, when I was skating and I was learning how to skate, I would set up like a handy cam in the garage and like film and it's like same thing. Like,
totally.
I would film myself and I just wanted to like see it. But no, I don't have a solo shot. I would actually prefer not to see myself surfing these days. I'm cool with the way that I look in my head. When I see it, I'm like, oh man, like. But I totally, the progression is crazy. Like you can go to the beach by yourself and set something up, and
it's wild. I feel like with wave pools, the wave pool technology, and the tech. That I imagine like one day you may end up having to design an app probably that will go along with the wave pool showing the maneuvers you're doing or whatever. I mean, it's kind of wild. I feel like that the future of this sort of stuff and the influence of tech on these sports are going to change it dramatically.
Totally. I mean, there's the thing with Surfline now where you can wear like an Apple Watch, and like if you check the surf cam, like you'll get all your clips from that time, which is that's also crazy. And then there's watches that do wave counts and all kinds of stuff.
I know that sort of stuff is I have mixed feelings on it. I don't know how you feel, but I totally like. And I had like an interesting conversation about purity in surfing and what that is, because it's always a moving target, actually, because people would look at what I ride or what I do not pure like 30, 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's always a moving thing, but it's weird to have these tech encroach on the thing where you're trying to interact with nature, I guess. But they can also enhance your experience too.
For sure. I think for me, I'm too close to it in my work life.
Yeah.
That, like, I like that separation. It's part of the reason.
I was just gonna say,
part of the reason with the book, like I wanted to just do something like point and shoot.
It's analog, basically.
It's analog, and it's tough, and like a ton of shit doesn't work out. It's pretty challenging. And you also like there's a surprise to it. Like with the camera, it's old and it's kind of leaky, so I have to duct tape it up every time I swap the film out. And so like half the time I don't even know what I'm shooting, and there's like a surprise when you get a rollback. You're like, oh shit, like that thing came out. Like wow, that's crazy.
The delayed gratification.
Exactly. There's like a really nice surprise to it, and I'll try to shoot like maybe like 5 or 6 rolls and then go get them all developed together. And so like a good amount of time passes, you know, for how frequently we have waves, like 5 or 6 rolls would be a long time. So it's like a really fun sort of treat to kind of like go through them and share them with my friends. And like, I would always like, when I'd get them, I'd like just blast the group text and like, I don't know. I feel like, I like having that separation, and I like things, especially with surfing, to be a little bit more
stripped down.
More, yeah, exactly. More pure, more stripped down, simple, like the things that I don't need a lot of things to worry about. Having a camera is plenty. So
with the Yawn Patrols, like, and you mentioned Surfline before, so like, I'm sure you were looking at the forecast and stuff, but I imagine like a lot of times leaving early, particularly in the dark, you can't see the cams. And also when you carpool with someone, it's very much you have to commit to it. You know, whereas if you go alone, which I tend to a lot, I will be lazy. I will get up, I will look at the cam, and I'll be like, is it worth, you know, particularly with like my wife in bed and she looks all snuggly and I don't want to totally, you know, leave then, because, you know, you have to choose and there's like a whole thing. But when you're committing with other people, there's a level of commitment, and then you go and it doesn't turn out exactly the way you thought it would, huh?
Totally. We tried to surf this morning.
How did that go?
It was high tide, and like it was the only sort of trace of a wave for the next couple of days. So it was just it was like a blind commitment, and you're like, and that's part of I feel like part of the cool part about having the friends is like you sort of get forced in that sense.
Yeah,
because you commit to it.
It
will. I gotta go.
It motivates you.
It does motivate you, and we have like a good little crew, and everybody gets super motivated, and probably like a little, I don't know, everybody's kind of challenging each other in some little way, but it's great because you know, everybody gets out there, and it's a good time. The morning is a really good time in New York, whether you're out at the beach or you're just cruising around the city. Like it's sort of like, there's so many people here and there's so much going on that the morning is like at least for me, I've always been a morning person. It's like a pretty sacred time and like feels like it's my own. So if I can be out there and there are no waves, at least I'm out there with my friends, and you know, I get to see the sunrise, or you know, I get to kind of like savor a couple hours by myself, and that's to me, that's just as much surfing as it is like seeing a friend on a wave or getting a really fun wave.
Well, it's the whole experience, right? Like it's all of that sort of stuff wrapped into it. It's, you know, surfing, and here's where like surfing a wave pool won't fully replace is that whole aspect of like getting up early, don't knowing if you're going to get waves. There's always that anticipation and excitement level, but also hesitancy. So you're feeling a whole range of emotions. Winter, it's cold, it's dark as fuck out, and like you're just like, why am I doing this? And you're getting your cup of coffee. Do you drink coffee before you surf or after?
I usually drink coffee. Well, in the summer, I don't because it's so early.
Yeah.
But when sunrise is a little bit later, I can get up and like make myself a quick cup of coffee. But I usually like to have a cup of coffee beforehand.
Do you ever have the post-coffee poo problem?
Oh, I've had, yes, many times.
You're like, shit, literally, what am I gonna do?
Where do I go?
I know.
Oh, no. Yeah, you got to strip everything off and figure it out.
You can't, you know, back in the day, the boardwalk before Sandy, you could go under the boardwalk sometimes or find a little spot, but not anymore. anymore.
Not anymore. Luckily at that hour, hopefully you're kind of by yourself.
Yeah.
But it also, once day breaks, you're in broad daylight.
I know. Summer, at least, like, the bathrooms are mostly open, at least, whereas in winter, you're really kind of struggling there.
And you're going to be freezing cold once you figure it out, once you figure out the situation.
What's your post-surf grind spot? Like, where do you go? What do you get after a surf? Like, what's your favorite spot?
Usually get a coffee at Locals, and then we'll go to B&B, which is the spot. It's Bagels and Barista, which is just over the bridge.
Yes, that's the spot.
Because they have like the perfect setup outside.
Absolutely.
We can just kind of like hang out and shoot the shit for a little bit and talk and,
And they're fast.
They're super fast. The bagels are really good. The wraps are good.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything is good there. Like even like lunch, if you surf all morning and it's like lunchtime, like freaking really good there. You can get pastrami. You can get a pastrami and egg sandwich, which is really nice.
Never had the pastrami and egg.
Man.
Oof.
Highly recommend it. Yeah. You can do all that. They have all the coffees, the iced coffees, the flavored coffees. Like that's my go-to.
Good spot.
I do enjoy going to the bakery as well.
The bakery's good. The bakery's amazing. The biscuits.
Yeah.
We're usually a little early for the bakery, so we have to kind of like.
One day I got to get Tracy on here. Like,
she's doing. I don't know. She's got a great program going, and you could like when you walk up and you smell the bacon and you smell those sandwiches, you're just like, oh my god,
like ham and cheese croissant, and then like what I love is the like croissant loaf that they do.
I get that for my wife. So good, it's delicious.
It's like I love how Rockaway has evolved, and you've been around enough now to have seen like a really steep incline in the evolution of Rockaway. And, it used to be, when I was going out there, in like late 90s, early 2000, like there was nowhere. Like you went to like just one of the bodegas and got like a breakfast sandwich. But now it's like incredible. All the different places you can go. It's kind of mind blowing.
There's so much good food out there. Claudette.
Oh, yes.
Super good.
Claudette, the burrito place.
Super burrito.
Boardwalk Pizza's got a nice slice,
Haven't eaten there yet.
Oh, it's a good slice. It's a pretty decent slice. You want to ask for it, get it nice and crunchy, though, for sure. And then, like, with skateboarding, too, do you still skate a bunch?
Loosely.
Loosely.
I think it's, I have pretty bad knees from it. But yeah, I'll roll around here and there, but I feel like skateboarding now is more of like an excuse to like go hang out with friends or like have a beer.
Yeah.
Definitely not trying to like jump down anything anymore.
Snowboarding? Do you go around here at all?
Sometimes we'll go up to Mountain Creek, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Such a scene there. I thought like I didn't snowboard here for a couple of years when I first moved here, maybe like 5-6 years, because I was like, oh, yeah, you've heard stories. You're like, oh, it's not
icy.
It's gonna be super icy and choppy, and but we went to Mountain Creek and like I had a great time. And we went to Vermont this last year with some friends, and it was great. Like we had great snow and I had a blast. So definitely still snowboard.
Yeah, a little easier on the knees.
A little easier on the body, and I'm not, I only do it like a couple times a year. Sometimes when I go home and visit family, I'll snowboard, usually go for a day.
Now, let me ask you, if they opened like a bunch of really good wave pools in Colorado, would you move back to Colorado?
It would definitely make it hard. I love New York. I love it here. I think the people, and I don't know, we get 4 seasons. You meet people with such different tastes, people that are just like walking contradictions and so intelligent and so interesting. And like, I think people have to work really hard here for what they like to do. And, like I think surfing is case in point in that. And like other people that have been surfing forever, like I have so much respect for it because you like really, really love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to do it. And I think that, to me, that kind of is New York in some way, shape, or form, where it's like it is a tough place to live, but it's also like everybody looks out for each other. Everybody I think that's why I can't leave now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've worked so hard to get here. I have so many friends here, such a good community. And like,